Mom feels sick 4 weeks after giving birth. Doctor in shock when he sees the ultrasound. Maria had been waiting for this moment for 9 long months. She was finally a mother. Her baby girl was beautiful, and Maria was over the moon with joy. But something didn't feel right. 4 weeks after giving birth, Maria started to feel unwell. At first, she thought it was just the exhaustion of having a newborn, but as the days went by, she knew it was more than that. She was weak, had a fever, and her skin was pale. Hey there, ViralVids here. Before we go on, like this video, smash the subscribe button, and click the notification bell. We post the most beautiful, amazing, and scary videos every single day. Let's proceed with the video. Maria knew she needed to see a doctor, but the thought of leaving her baby girl made her anxious. She tried to brush it off, thinking that she just needed some rest, but her condition only worsened, and she knew she couldn't ignore it any longer. When Maria arrived at the doctor's office, she felt nervous. She had never been sick before, and she didn't know what to expect. The doctor checked her vital signs and ran some blood tests. Her white blood cell count was high, which indicated an infection. Maria's heart sank when she heard the news. She had heard stories of women getting infections after giving birth, but she never thought it would happen to her. The doctor reassured her that it was treatable and that she would be fine. But as he examined her, he noticed something unusual. "Maria, have you had any other ultrasounds besides the one during your pregnancy?" the doctor asked. Maria was confused. "No, why?" The doctor's face was grim. "I'm gonna need you to do an ultrasound to see if there's any internal damage. It's just a precaution." Maria nodded, not knowing what to expect. As the doctor performed the ultrasound, Maria could see the worry on his face. She was scared. What could be wrong? After a few moments, the doctor spoke. "Maria, I need you to come back tomorrow for another ultrasound. We need to take a closer look." Maria left the doctor's office feeling more anxious than before. What could be wrong? She tried to push the thought out of her mind and focus on taking care of her baby girl, but as the day went by, she couldn't shake the feeling that something was seriously wrong. The next day, Maria returned to the doctor's office, her heart pounding in her chest. The doctor performed the ultrasound, and this time, Maria could see the shock on his face. "Maria, I need to tell you something," the doctor said, his voice barely above a whisper. Maria's mind raced. What could it be? "The ultrasound shows something that I've never seen before," the doctor said. "Inside your uterus is another fetus, alive and growing." Maria's mind went blank. Another baby? How is that possible? She and her husband had only planned for one child. The doctor immediately scheduled an emergency C-section, and Maria was rushed to the operating room. She was scared, but also relieved that she would finally know what was causing her illness. As Maria was lying on the operating table, waiting for the surgery to begin, she thought about the life she had planned for herself and her family. She never imagined that her world could be turned upside down so quickly. But as she heard the first cries of her second baby, a little boy, she knew that everything was going to be okay. Maria had 2 healthy babies, even though they hadn't planned for it. The whole experience was a shock, but it was also a miracle. Maria's family had just doubled in size, and she couldn't wait to start this new chapter of her life. As the doctor performed the ultrasound on Maria, he noticed something unusual on the screen. There was a dark spot on her uterus, and it looked like it was moving. His heart sank as he realized that there was a second baby growing inside Maria's womb. He tried to stay calm as he spoke to Maria, but inside he was in shock. How was it possible that no one had noticed the second baby before? He immediately ordered some additional tests to determine the health of both babies and Maria. As the doctor studied the results of the tests, he realized that the second baby was healthy and growing normally. Maria, on the other hand, was not. Her white blood cell count was high, indicating an infection. The doctor was puzzled. How could she have an infection when she had just given birth? He decided to run some additional tests to find out what was causing the infection. As he reviewed the results, he couldn't believe what he was seeing. Maria had a rare condition called fetal maternal hemorrhage, which occurs when the baby's blood cells cross into the mother's bloodstream. The doctor was shocked. He had only read about this condition in medical textbooks. It was extremely rare, occurring in only 1 in every 50,000 pregnancies. He had never seen a case in all his years of practice. The doctor knew that he had to act fast to save Maria's life. He ordered an emergency C-section and assembled a team of specialists to help with the delivery. As Maria was wheeled into the operating room, the doctor's mind was racing. He had never performed a C-section under these circumstances, and he knew that the procedure would be difficult. He took a deep breath and began the surgery. After what felt like an eternity, the doctor heard the first cries of the first baby. It was a healthy baby girl, and the doctor breathed a sigh of relief, but he knew that his work wasn't done yet. He had to deliver the second baby and make sure that Maria was okay. As he delivered the second baby, a little boy, the doctor couldn't help but feel a sense of wonder. 2 healthy babies, born under such unusual circumstances. It was a miracle. As the babies were taken to the NICU for observation, the doctor turned his attention to Maria. He knew that she was still at risk of complications from the hemorrhage, and he ordered a transfusion to replace the lost blood cells. As Maria slowly began to recover, the doctor couldn't help but marvel at the strength and resilience of the human body. Despite the odds, both babies were healthy, and Maria was on the road to recovery. The doctor knew that this experience would stay with him for the rest of his life. He had witnessed a true miracle, and he was grateful to have been a part of it. As the doctors examined the ultrasound images, they couldn't believe their eyes. There, on the screen, were 2 perfectly formed babies nestled together in Maria's womb. But as they continued to study the images, they noticed something strange. The second baby was surrounded by a dark mass that seemed to be pulsating. The doctors had never seen anything like it before. They ordered a series of tests to try and determine what the mass was and what its impact was on the second baby's health. As the results came back, the doctors were shocked. The mass was made up of Maria's own blood cells, which had crossed into the baby's bloodstream. The doctors explained to Maria and her husband that this was a rare condition called fetal maternal hemorrhage, and that it was potentially life-threatening for both the mother and the baby. They told them that an emergency C-section was necessary to deliver both babies and save Maria's life. Maria and her husband were in shock. They had no idea that there was a second baby, let alone that they were in danger. They were terrified, but they trusted the doctors to do whatever was necessary to save their family. As they prepared for the C-section, the doctors explained that the procedure would be difficult and that there were risks involved. They told Maria and her husband that they would do everything in their power to ensure the safety of the babies and Maria, but that they needed to be prepared for the worst-case scenario. As Maria was wheeled into the operating room, her heart was racing. She couldn't believe that this was happening to her. She had given birth just 4 weeks ago, and now she was facing another life-threatening situation. As the doctors began the surgery, Maria tried to stay calm. She focused on the sound of the monitors and the gentle touch of the nurse's hand. She prayed for her babies and for herself, hoping that they would all make it through this ordeal. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, the first baby was born. Maria heard the cries of her baby girl and felt a wave of relief wash over her, but she knew that there was still another baby to deliver, and she couldn't rest until both were safe. As the second baby was delivered, the doctors held their breath. They had no idea what to expect, but when they saw the baby's rosy cheeks and heard his strong cries, they knew that he was going to be okay. Maria was overwhelmed with emotion as she saw her babies for the first time. She couldn't believe that they were both healthy and alive. She knew that they had been through a harrowing experience, but she also knew that they were fighters. As Maria recovered in the hospital, she reflected on the miracle that had taken place. She had given birth to 2 beautiful babies, and they had survived against all odds. She knew that she had a long road to recovery ahead of her, but she was grateful to be alive and to have her family by her side. The doctors, too, were amazed by what they had witnessed. They had seen a rare and potentially deadly condition, and yet they had been able to save both the mother and the babies. It was a true testament to the power of modern medicine and to the resilience of the human spirit. As Maria and her family left the hospital, they knew that they would never forget this experience. It had been a trial by fire, but they had emerged stronger and more united than ever before. As Maria and her family adjusted to life with their 2 new babies, they couldn't help but marvel at the miracle that had taken place. They had faced a terrifying ordeal, but they had come out on the other side with a newfound appreciation for life and for each other. The second baby, the one surrounded by the dark mass on the ultrasound, quickly became known as the miracle baby. He had been through so much before he was even born, and yet he was healthy and strong. As he grew and developed, Maria and her husband couldn't help but feel a sense of wonder about this little boy. They knew that he was special and that he had a purpose in life. As the years went by, the miracle baby continued to thrive. He was a bright and curious child, always eager to learn and explore. He loved playing with his sister, and he had a smile that could light up a room. As he grew older, Maria and her husband couldn't help but wonder what the future held for their miracle baby. They knew that he was destined for greatness, but they didn't know what form that greatness would take. One day, when the miracle baby was in middle school, he came home with an announcement. He had decided that he wanted to become a doctor. Maria and her husband were overjoyed. They knew that their son had a passion for helping others, and they couldn't think of a more fitting career for him. As the miracle baby worked his way through medical school, he encountered many challenges, but he never gave up. He remembered the miracle that had brought him into the world, and he was determined to make a difference in the lives of others. Finally, after years of hard work and dedication, the miracle baby became a doctor. He specialized in high-risk pregnancies, determined to help other mothers and babies who were facing the same challenges that he and his family had faced. Years went by, and the miracle baby became known throughout the medical community for his expertise and his compassion. He saved countless lives, and he inspired countless others to never give up in the face of adversity. As Maria and her husband watched their son become a leader in his field, they couldn't help but feel a sense of awe. They knew that he was fulfilling his destiny and that he was making the world a better place. In the end, Maria and her family knew that the miracle that had brought their son into the world had been just the beginning of a much greater journey. The miracle baby had been born to do great things, and he had fulfilled that destiny with courage, determination, and love. They knew that their family had been blessed, and they were grateful for every moment of their lives together. What did you think of this story? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Like the video and subscribe. See you next time!